So Scotland have got the job done over Argentina in a pretty low-scoring one, 14 points to 9. It was a pretty wet looking it was an afternoon over there in Scotland, so perhaps that's a factor in terms of why the scores were so low. But largely also just two teams that were defensively on their game and weren't willing to be broken down without some pretty supreme effort. So just the one try in the game that was to Maitland, who scored, and it was like the 66th minute. So it was a wee while coming. And prior to that, both sides exchanged penalties, and after that, 3 to Laidlaw and 3 to Sanchez was all the other points. Boffelli also had one crack at a penalty, but there was nothing doing there. So it was an interesting one. Like, Argentina were playing smart early. They were testing Hogg with a few high balls, and a couple of them, so they were working. Like, Hogg either knocked it on or missed it a couple of times, and that was getting Argentina some good territory. It looked like a good chance to start building up some points, but they weren't able to do it. Laidlaw kicked the first penalty of the game in like the second minute to make it 3-0, but then Sanchez missed one on 9. Boffelli missed one on like 20. So Argentina potentially, with their territory and kind of smart play, could have been in front, but were still behind. They did eventually get one penalty to make it 3-3. Laidlaw got another one before halftime to make it 6-3. That's how it was at halftime. So a pretty tight game. Sanchez got a penalty though in the second half pretty early on, 6-6, 6-all. Sanchez missed another penalty, so a chance to go in front. Argentina never led in this game. Laidlaw landed another penalty on 55. Then Maitland's try came after, as I said, 66. So the defenses were solid, and the Argentinians were able to get up off the ground pretty quickly to keep the Scots out, and then vice versa as well. But for that try, the defense just kind of shuffled across, and Hogg, who was kind of standing out there on the blind side because it looked to be on kind of open, but the defense shuffled. Hogg saw that and just screamed for the ball. Laidlaw to Hogg and then to Maitland in for a try. And it was going to take that kind of smart heads-up play, quick thinking, quick reactions, good hands from everybody involved to break the defense, and that's what it ended up being. Laidlaw missed the conversion. It was dead on the money, but just didn't quite have the legs to get over. So it was, it was like 14 points to 6 at that point. Eventually, Sanchez had another shot at goal, missed it, and then their scrum actually managed to earn a penalty. The Argentinian scrum has not been good in recent weeks. It's been a real area of weakness, and it's been costing them a lot of points. Like against Ireland, it was super costly. But, it was doing all right in this game. It wasn't an area of weakness. It wasn't really an area of dominance, but it was fine. And they did manage to earn a scrum penalty, and they decided to go for the kick to kind of put it within striking distance, but that was how it finished, 14 points to 9. From where they got that scrum penalty, the commentators alluded to it as well. They could have gone for a try and perhaps looked to win it at the death with a kick, but no, they didn't go for it. They went for the kick first and tried to earn the try. So it was always going to be pretty hard from there. Laidlaw did have one shot just before full time, but he missed that again, distance being the issue. He does have that kind of radar accuracy. It's just he's not a real super boot in terms of distance. So yeah, that's how it finished. Fraser Brown had a high shot on Moyano, which wasn't punished apart from penalty. That was probably sensible from the ref. After they had said prior to this game that there should be more yellow cards in November, we haven't seen enough yellow cards. I was a little bit concerned that one would be a yellow, but the ref was just like, no, he was pretty low to the ground anyway. So penalty is it's nice to see a bit of sensible reffing, I thought. There were a few handling errors and turnovers. And that kind of makes sense given how the weather was pretty wet. And as I said, the Scottish were on the back foot for a while, but they only conceded 3 points at a time and were the only team able to score. Hastings had a couple of good runs, so it was good to see him in the number 10 jersey. That guy is a pretty exciting player to watch. Hugh Jones was probably a bit quieter than we saw him last week, so I guess sometimes it just doesn't quite fall that way. But yeah, as I said, Hastings was definitely making up for that. Dalgui was taking some names on defence, but that Argentinian back three, like Boffelli and Moyano had a few good runs, but never really. I mean, there was one kind of run. De La Fuente had a bit of a break, and perhaps they could have done a bit more with it, but it wasn't that common that the Scottish defence looked like being broken, man. It was just super solid. Yeah. Crowd got into it towards the end. Quiet to start with, but I guess the game was kind of tit for tat, so there wasn't really anything to get real excited about. My kids, my son and my niece are excited outside the door if you can hear them running around. But yeah, the crowd got real into it. So kind of backing the boys to get home at the end, and they sure did that. So yeah, I mean, full-time stats, run meters, 246 to Scotland, 400 to Argentina. So they did have some running, but never really felt to me like they were going to crack them open. Possession and territory, 40-60 to Argentina. The scrum stats are actually better for Argentina, as are the line-out stats. I think Scotland missed two line-outs and one scrum. Argentina had 100% for their set piece. But I guess the key story of this game, tackling, Scotland 91% and Argentina 90%. So it was a game where defenses were really on top, and that's pretty much reflected in that scoreline. Penalties conceded, 10 Scotland, 7 Argentina. So when you look at Watson, 20 out of 20 tackles. That guy put in a proper shift. As I said, the Argentinian scrum was better, but a lot of points left out there with the boot. In a game which was only decided by 5 points, Sanchez missed, I think, 3 penalties and Boffelli missed 1. I mean, it's hard to say that it could have been different, because, you know, if they'd kicked one of the first penalties, things would have been different going on in the game. The other opportunities might not have come. But just, I mean, in terms of just looking at the points left out there, Argentina could have done better. So, I mean, it's a good win for Scotland, for sure. They definitely needed a win to close off November. They've had some close games, but just not quite there. So it's good to see them finally get one over the line. Opposite true for Argentina. Still not quite able to fire. They still do have one more game, though, against the Barbars. So we'll see if they're able to show us some running rugby. That should be a real kind of exhibition-style, entertaining match. So hopefully they can get a win, because they could certainly use one. But yeah, good on Scotland. I still think Scotland is probably going to need to just improve that wee touch heading into the Six Nations, just like Argentina were. I mean, they finished last in the Rugby Championship, but they still managed to get a win over South Africa and a win over Australia. So they're a touch off the pace, but not that far. I kind of feel like Scotland's the same right now. At home, I reckon they're going to be super hard to beat, but on the road, it'll be tough. So at the minute, challenging for the title seems hard, but I mean, Six Nations is still a wee way away. Still a lot to look forward to. As I said, they're not far away, man. There's still some pretty good stats among some of those Scottish boys. So solid outing without being spectacular. I'm pretty sure Gregor Townsend also said they'll need to be better. So I guess fair play to him for that. So yeah, what did you guys think of the game? Key performers and key moments. Sanchez off night with the boot. Kind of bad timing for it in the game that was so close. I am about to go and watch the England-Australia game. Haven't seen that yet, although did accidentally just see England won, apparently. They scored 30-odd points. I haven't seen what Australia's score was. I managed to turn my head away at the last moment. I'm hoping it was close, but I'm not all that confident. Anyway, guys, yeah, you guys let me know your thoughts, and I'll talk to you again soon. See you later.